Okay, so we're going to start today's stuff by going over this table problem that I brought you. But before we start on it, I want to show you how I'm going to organize my packets. So I'm just going to label them in the order that I get them. So I'm just going to label this types of data packet with a 1. If I had my marker, I would, oh, here's my marker. So wherever you want to is fine. I'm just going to come up here and label that 1. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I'm just showing you how I'm going to organize mine. Then smelling Parkinson's disease was 2. And then our bar graphs is 3, and our bar graph lesson is related to the table that we're about to go over. So if you have a stapler here or at home, or you want to use my stapler later, I'm going to staple this bar graphs packet to this worksheet that I just brought you because they go together. Does that make sense? You're sure? Okay. So if you have a baby stapler, you can staple it, and if not, you can use mine before you go. Okay, so the reason that I wanted to go over this problem with you is because when you're first introduced to a frequency table, it's like this. Like, it's really easy, it's really straightforward. You just have your categories and your numbers, and then you make your bar chart. Remember, on your bar chart, your bars do not touch. So on the quiz you guys took, somebody from last period, I think, said that the histogram was a touching bar chart. No, no, no. No, no, no. Bar charts, if it's a bar chart, the bars do not touch. So we get our frequency table, we can make our bar chart. We can also use a relative frequency table, and then we talked about pie charts. So then we get to a question that could be asked on the actual AP exam. And I'm pretty sure that this is a question that was asked on the AP exam. So they'll go through and release, every now and then they'll release questions that were on the exam for you guys to see, so you can get an idea about what's expected of you. So the annual Monitoring the Future Study surveys random samples of U.S. 8th, 10th, and 12th grade students. One question on the 2018 survey asked, how much do you think people risk harming themselves, physically or in other ways, if they vape an e-liquid with nicotine occasionally? So how much do you think people risk harming themselves if they vape an e-liquid with nicotine occasionally? So the frequency table summarizes the students' responses. So I just want to highlight that they are telling you that this is a frequency table. Then it goes through and wants you to identify which of the following statements is not supported by the table. So we have to go through and find the ones that are not true. So all of a sudden we go from this really easy M&M table to all of a sudden having to go through to check to see if 5 separate statements are true or false. So I'm just going to write down here the work that I'm going to show for each answer option. So for A, it says over 1/3 of the students responded slight risk. Well, 1/3 is approximately 33%. So I need to check to see if over 33% of these students answered slight risk. So I go to my table and I'm going to find the number of students that said slight risk, and I'm going to divide that by the total number of students. So the students that said slight risk were 782. And now we have to use our calculator to add up how many total students participated in this survey. I'll add and you add, and we'll just double check off each other. Okay, what'd you guys get? Thanks, Ivani. 2252. So the total in this frequency table, 2,252 students respond. So now I have my fraction. The last thing that I need to do is convert that to a percent. If this is something that you're struggling with, I made a video on it. It's in Friday's module. It goes through finding percents and rounding pretty slowly. So if you need extra support on this, know that it is on the Canvas page. So I'm plugging it in and I'm getting 35%. We get 0.347. You would round that up to 35. So this one is true. This is 35%. So option A is true. Or I guess I could just say true. Okay, B. More than twice as many students responded slight risk as great risk. So more than twice as many. Okay, so great risk. How many kids said great risk? 377. We got to times that by 2 because it says more than twice as many. Okay, so 754. We're supposed to compare that to those that said slight risk. And we know that that's 782. So did more than twice the amount of kids say slight risk than great risk? Yes. 754 would be twice the amount of kids that said great risk. We have more than 754. So option B is true. Is that one making sense? C. A majority of students said that there is no risk or slight risk. So, we're talking about data that makes up a whole. So we're talking about data that's supposed to add to 100%. So if we are looking at votes and we are going to say majority wins, how much percent out of 100 would be the majority? What's the least amount you could have? You guys know? Not 50, almost though. 51. A majority is greater than 50%. Anything greater than 50%. So in stats, when it says a majority, they're referring to something very specific. Okay, so this time they want us to combine no risk and slight risk. No risk plus slight risk. And you can write as little or as much of this as you want to. I'm just trying to make it as clear as possible how you calculate. So no risk was 501 students. Slight risk was 782 students. Divide by 2252 students. If that's greater than 50%, then this one is also true. So we go in 501 plus 782, divide by 2252. Did we get more than 50? Yep. If you plugged it in correctly, you should have gotten 57%. So C is true. A majority of students said that there's either no or slight risk. Okay, D. Over 10% of students responded, can't say drug unfamiliar. So that would be 191 over 2252. Over 10% said can't say they're unfamiliar. Was that one more than 10%? No. So if you plug this one in, you get 0.084. So you keep that at 8%. You don't round up to 9. So this one is the one that is not true. So D is the answer. The last one, I'm just going to check it just to be thorough. The proportion of students who responded no risk is about 22%. So no risk is 501 over 2252. If you plug that into your calculator, it does equal 22%. So all of them were true, but option E. So I just want to reiterate quickly that the reason I'm having you do this problem is because when we introduce it in class, it's really straightforward and easy like these tables. But then when you get to the actual questions on the exam for the same kind of table, they're having you check several different things to see which are true. Do you guys feel like you're better able to answer a question like this now? Okay, so that is the first part of what we're doing today.